Good afternoon, I'm Tom Chen from Channel 3 News. Study shows that 1 in 2 people will experience workplace bullying or harassment in their career. We are here today to discuss the prevalence of workplace bullying and what is being done to minimize the occurrence of it in Australian trade industry. We will be joined here today by Jack, a human resource manager with a major plumbing company within Australia, to get a first-hand look at what is being done to combat bullying and harassment in the workplace. We will also be talking to a site manager from the same company, a long-term employee and an apprentice. Hi Jack, thank you for being here today. Just the first few questions. How would you as a human resource manager combat with the issue of an employee receiving further bullying and harassment for making a complaint about another employee within the workplace?
As a human resource manager, I take great interest in the employee's well-being inside and outside of the workplace. We do our best to prevent any further bullying to an employee who has already made an official complaint. I believe implementing an anonymous complaint form will allow for the employees to inform me on what is going on within the workplace. We could monitor and act on any bullying that occurs, allowing the employees to be in the dark about who made the complaint. This complaint form will be implemented if we get the support from employees stating they think it would be a good idea if they are willing to give it a shot. It will be evaluated in the first 6 months of it being implemented. If it has been used by employees who are actually being bullied or harassed, it will be considered a success.
Last question, Jack. If an employee continues to harass and bully other employees, what actions will be taken to stop the offence?
Since we have low tolerance of bullying within our workforce, offenders will be punished in accordance to how severely they have offended. If an employee continues to offend after having a meeting with the management, they may be looking at being suspended from their job for a certain amount of time that will be decided by how severe their offences are. In extreme situations, an employee may even be terminated if the punishment seems fit. In doing so, we'll send a strong message to other employees that we have a low tolerance for bullying within our workplace. This can be evaluated by our staff turnover rate, as hopefully bullying is dealt with in this manner, less employees will leave the company. Employees may feel intimidated by management staff, which can have both a positive and negative effect.
Thank you for your time, Jack.
No worries.
Welcome back. The next guest we will talk to is site manager Cameron.
Hi Cameron, how do you think you could educate and inform employees of the damages that bullying and harassment can do to the well-being of others?
I believe that the implementation of an educational program for all employees to participate in would be a great addition to the company. This program would deal with the long and short-term effects that bullying can have on someone. It would inform employees of all types of bullying, including the harmless jokes that may often be thrown around. This program would aim to minimise bullying and harassment in our working environment, as our employees would be more aware of the things that they are saying at work and the impact that these things could potentially have on someone. Personal testimonies of the effects of bullying by willing guest speakers will add to the validity of the educational program and will help with the aim of the program, which would be to minimise bullying and harassment in our working environment. Our employees would become more aware of the things they are saying at work, and additionally the impact that these things could have on someone.
Just the last question, Cam. If one of your employees experiences bullying or harassment in the workplace, what would you do in order to minimize the harm and prevent it from happening again?
As we are a company with zero tolerance for any type of workplace bullying and harassment, the first step in addressing this behaviour is to make sure we have a positive work environment so that the victim feels comfortable enough to be able to report the incident. Training for site managers to be able to competently deal with any concerns that the victim has around returning to work with their bully, or about the judgment they receive from fellow employees about taking the incident further, would greatly help with the encouraging employees to speak up about the incidents at the workplace that may not come immediately to the attention of site managers. Of course, disciplinary action must be taken for those who are bullying and making others feel uncomfortable at work. Depending on the severity of the incident, the disciplinary actions put in place can range from verbal and written warnings all the way up to termination of employment. If an employee is constantly being brought to the attention of managers, then decisions must be made about the future of the said employee's place within the company.
Next, we're interviewing long-term employee Adrian.
Hi Adrian, what are your thoughts on an anonymous complaint form being brought into your workplace?
Yeah, throughout my years of working for the company, I've personally witnessed various forms of bullying and harassment in the workplace, and I've never seen the issues being properly addressed and dealt with. And this is purely due to the culture created in the trade industry, that you don't dog your mates or that you are soft for telling on them. So yeah, I think the idea of anonymous complaint form is great, because keeping things anonymous means that a potential victim of bullying and harassment will be able to address an issue without his peers finding out, meaning that relationships will remain intact and the workplace will still be able to stay productive with the issue being dealt with.
And would you attend an educational program outlining the effect of bullying and harassment in the workplace?
I personally would attend an educational program just to expand my knowledge on how to deal with issues in the workplace, and as a senior member, I believe it's my job to act as a role model for the younger blokes on site. But in saying that, I think it would be very difficult to get the younger and less experienced workers to take part in the program unless you implement some sort of incentive to draw them into participating into the program. Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Next we have is the young apprentice Jonathan.
Hi, Jonathan. Do you think there is a prevalence of workplace bullying and harassment within your company and field of work?
I'll begin by saying that I believe there's so many times people can feel hard done by in any organisation. It's just up to interpretation as to whether you can classify these cases as actually bullying or just an example of that people these days are just falling to a culture of self-pity. But in saying this, I do think in the trade industry especially, bullying is definitely prevalent due to the multiple clashing personalities. It's one of the most male-dominated fields going around. It's just an adrenaline-filled environment, and in my first-hand opinion, just a dog-eat-dog world. Because of the different types of people you get on the work site, there can be definitely clashing tolerance and humour levels. This can of course lead to people taking offence to things others wouldn't even blink an eyelid at. So I do think it definitely comes down to interpretation, but also due to the fact that it is such a male-dominated environment, the likeliness of bullying is very high.
And do you think the addition of professionally trained counselor and mediator to your company would be effective and worthwhile?
Yeah, so I definitely believe the implementation of any professional, such as a trained counsellor or mediator, would only help and excel operations amongst any organisation. I think having a professional to be able to deal with people and their problems in relation to bullying is just a major plus. So having someone there to listen is one thing, but having someone who knows how to also say words of reassurance to these people is even better. As an apprentice, this life is very new to me, but it is very clear already that the culture here is a very loud and borderline physical one, to say the least. So when these louder personalities do take advantage of the more vulnerable ones, to have someone there to fall back on is definitely a major positive.
Thank you for joining us today to take a deeper look into the different actions that companies are implementing to minimize bullying and harassment in their workplace. I've been Tom Chen from Channel 3 News.